Good morning. So glad you guys are here. Watching online, give us a thumbs up. Let us know you're joining us. So I know I'm part of an older generation. I'm 46, so I told the 9:30. I grew up in two worlds. I grew up when I was a kid. My wife both would say this. We grew up like it was 1945. Like you got on your bike, you left. Parents were like, where's your kid? We don't know. Have you seen your kid in 3 days? No. No one cares. Like you just... way different. Now I know it's like, man, we can track. It's crazy. I can track I know where my kid, like, I don't even want to do that. I'm like, gosh, just get rid of this. This is crazy. But we also grew up where, like, if you lost the game, you'd have a coach who was mad at you. You know, he's like, Coach, dude, it's just 9 and 10-year-old Little League. It's like, yeah, but we lost. We getting hot dogs today? No. Losers don't get hot. What kind of that? So, with that being said, what happened to me was my very first year of coaching was my son's T-ball team. We were the Ironton Cubs. And guys, I'm not flexing. I'm just stating facts. We were loaded, okay? I drafted really well. I had a kid, my shortstop, was an amazing baseball player, even through school, great athlete. But I also had a kid, not my son, I put at second, who was also really good. And I'm telling you guys, they didn't keep score. We did. No one else did. And the league didn't keep score. But I know specifically one direct time, they literally hit the ball to our second baseman. This is 5-year-olds, right? He catches, I'm not making this up. He catches the ball, fields it clean, gives like the soft toss to our shortstop, who rounds the bag, hits the bag, turns two. And my dad, who's coached Little League like for years and years, we're walking off the field, and he was like, never seen that before. Like they were legit, and we were hammering people. And I loved it because we get in the dugout, and they're like, everybody's like, nobody keeps score. And our guys are like, Coach, it was 18-2. I'm like, I know. Straight domination. I know some of you are like, you're a sicko. Fine, but I love it. But here's what happened. Very next season, we joined this league for flag football. Again, my son's very young, and it's a very prominent league. Great. They do a great job. They do devotionals at halftime. Just it's ran really well. It's awesome. But they don't keep score. And same thing. So, of course, just the parents are keeping score. But one day is like our second game. We lose 24-12. 4 touchdowns to 2, okay? Then we get 6 points because they don't kick extra points. 24-12. We're walking off the field, and little Bryson, who was on my son's team, looks at his mom as she's giving him his little, his Go-Gurt and his oranges and whatever. She literally is like, says something, and he went, we won. And I said, Bryson, what did you say? And he literally is like, we won. I said, buddy, you guys didn't win. You actually lost 24-12. And this blew my mind. His mom was livid. She said, don't tell him that. What? Don't tell him that our team's a loser right now? That we lost? Come on, man. It's just part of life. Now, the reason I'm telling you that, yes, I'm probably more extreme than all of you. In my mind, it's like, hey, if you're not going to keep score, I don't care. I know there's families that are like, hey, we just like board games for fun. No. We're not, if you're not keeping score and someone can't lose and there can't be a loser that we can all look down on, then I don't want any part of it. That's how it should be. That's the way God made sports, okay? I'm done. That's my rant. But here's why I'm saying, because there's a more important part. We like to keep score. We do. Now, we don't like when we feel like in life the score's against us, but we're all keeping score. We keep score in relationships. Many of you, sadly, are in a marriage where it's just like, well, I can't believe she didn't do this. I mean, I'm coming home early. You actually do things because you're hoping it will give you more points or allow you to do something else. We do it at work, right? Why are they coming in late? I don't come in late. How come I'm not getting paid as much as them? I work harder than them, right? We're constantly keeping score. But here's the dangerous part. If we're honest, we also keep score with God. I show up every week, or most weeks. I come 3 out of 4 weeks. I'm here 3 out of 4 every month. I even give some money, right? Okay, so God, I should be in a different place than those people, right? We're constantly keeping score. And here's what I want you to hear today, okay? Religion loves the scoreboard. And this is hard on me. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Just the way I'm wired. But the bottom line is Jesus cancels the game. He does. And it gives you the trophy anyways. This is how God operates. And I love this parable because what we're going to learn today from Jesus' parable is basically a little bit about life, a little bit about us. But Jesus ultimately is trying to teach us about how his Father's kingdom works. And this is the idea I want to give you. We all know from keeping score, life isn't fair. But I'm going to say something that might rub you a little bit the wrong way. But I'm going to challenge you to think about it a little deeper today, okay? I believe life isn't fair and neither is God. God is not fair. And let's even just say that on a very practical level. Look around. Are we the same? Is it fair? Right? I mean, literally, my wife and I, we always make a joke, like when we were growing up, we were like, how come it's always the quarterback who not only is a great athlete, but he is like freaking the best looking guy in the school, right? I remember I went to school as quarterback, and I remember walking by one day, and not being weird, I was just like, man, he is a good looking guy, right? But then my mind was like, at least I'm probably funnier. And then he just throws out a joke and everybody laughs. Of course, I don't know if he's that funny. He's just attractive, right? But then I got to know him more, and I was like, well, at least he's probably a jerk, and I'm not a jerk, right? Because I'm humble, because I'm not like him. And it's like, no, he's also the greatest human in the world, right? He's over there helping orphans in spare time. Like, gosh, you're the best. It's not fair, though, is it? Right? I wanted to play in the NFL. Why did God make me 5'3", right? And 200 and some pounds, right? It's not fair. You can't say it's fair. God's not fair. It's not. Right? Some of you in here, though, if you're not a church person, you're like, finally, somebody just said it. It's not fair. Life isn't. But here's what Jesus is going to teach us about his kingdom. Now, before I set this up, let me explain how the Jewish culture, God's people, would have worked back then. They believed from the law, which was the Ten Commandments and all the other laws that God gave them, they believed that you would work 6 days, and then on the seventh day, you would take a rest. Don't do any work. And this is actually very nice. God's like, no, I want you guys to recharge. I want you just to relax. But they called that the Sabbath, but they had a daily Sabbath as well. And what that meant was from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. was when you did work. You locked in. You did work. Men would work for 12 hours. But from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., that was all rest. No more work. Stop working. God was like, I want you to rest. I want you to chill. Enjoy people. Have celebrations. They had all these different celebrations, time together. They loved it. And what Jesus is going to teach us, I need you to make sure you understand that with this. Because we know life can feel like this scoreboard sometimes. Here's what it says in Matthew 20, starting verse 1. This is Jesus talking. He said, for the kingdom of heaven, this is God's kingdom, is like the landowner who went out early one morning to hire workers for his vineyard. He agreed to pay the normal daily wage and sent them out to work. 6 a.m., here's a group of people. Hey, come work for me. How much you want to give me? 1 day's wage. How much is that? Denarius, whatever the amount. Yeah, got it. Okay, got it. We're good. 6 a.m. Look what happens, though. It says at 9 o'clock in verse 3, in the morning, he was passing through the marketplace, the owner, and saw some people standing around doing nothing. So he hired them, telling them he would pay them whatever was right at the end of the day. Now I want you to catch something real quick, okay? Remember in verse 3 it said, you don't have to go back. In verse 3 it said the 6 a.m. workers, he said, I'm putting you on contract. I'm guaranteeing you if you work today, you're going to get a day's wage. Look at these guys, though. He says when he hired the next group at 9 a.m., he told them, I'll pay you whatever's right. What's right? What's right? There's no contract. Now hear this for a second. If you live, the first group, which would probably represent the Jews versus the Gentiles, if you live under contract with God, you are going to be frustrated. Let me just say that. You are going to cry out many times in your life. If you feel like you and God have a good contract going, then you will constantly be frustrated and you will cry to God, that's not fair. Well, I'm a better person than he is. Why are you letting this happen to my kids? Right? No, I'm a pretty good person. Why are you letting this happen in my marriage? It's not fair. Why? Because you believe you're on the scoreboard with God. Well, I prayed today. Read a few verses, right? That's how we feel about this. That's the contract. If you want to stay under contract with God, I promise you, you will always be frustrated, as we're about to see with this group. Moving on, verse 5. It says, so they went to work in the vineyard. At noon, 3 hours later, and again at 3 o'clock, he did the same thing. At 5 o'clock, so there's 1 hour left in the workday. At 5 o'clock, he sees a bunch of jokers literally just smoking and joking on the side of the street. And look what he says. At 5 o'clock, that afternoon, he was in town and saw some more people standing around. He asked, why haven't you been working today? They replied, because no one hired us. The landowner told them, then go out and join the others in my vineyard. Now, I got to confess to you guys, okay? I wasn't super churchy kind of growing up, and me, you know this, but as a teenager, about 12, 13, started to attend this little Baptist church beside my house. Most amazing people in the world. Owe my life to them. They literally, so many great things in my life happened because of literally how powerful of an impact these people have. Never ever want to put them down. But let me explain this. In that culture, you had a point system. If you came Sunday morning, plus Sunday school, plus Sunday night, plus Wednesday night, you were the 10-point guys, right? And then you had kind of the next level down where it's like, hey, we love Sunday morning. We'll come on Wednesday night. We don't go Sunday night. That's football night. Come on, give me a break. No one can expect us to go there. And then you have what I call the jokers who just rolled in on Sunday morning, right? We're not coming the rest of the time. One time a week, that's enough, right? And you had this points system. But here's what happened to me. And I'm not bashing. I'm just saying this was the culture I was in. You would have people get up there, and, man, they could give it to you. You ever heard the phrase, like, just wish they'd step on my toes? Well, they didn't just step on your toes. They would take a sledgehammer and try to literally break every bone in your foot. But you'd hear stuff. They'd be yelling and be like, you got to do better. God's disappointed in you today. That was just the message that I heard. So I'm like, okay, this is it. It's like sports. It's like everything else. Show up, perform, do a great job. Coach likes me, boss likes me, God must like me, right? Get good grades, my parents must like me more, God must like me more. That's the mindset. And here's what happened, though. About 17 to about 20, I'm reading stuff like this. And I'm like, wait a minute, though. This isn't fully adding up because Jesus is like, no, you can't do it. You can't even be better. You don't have it in your power. Not because of anything else, but you're dead, right? Jesus didn't come to make us better. He came to make us alive. He's like, no, you can't do this at all on your own. So I'm reading this. I'm like, wait a minute. So this try harder message, I don't know. And I remember even a guy told me, old pastor once, he said this very like old school. He's like, brother, just make sure you live for the applause of one. Now, I'm a sports guy. I'm like, I like that. Yeah, for him. I'm going to live for the applause of one person. As I start getting older, I'm like, I don't think that's right either. That's still like, okay, God, what can I, okay, I'll work hard, I'll do this. I've learned to live from the approval of God. That's already mine because of Jesus. And now that I have that, guess what? I get a whistle when I walk in. I already have that approval. I get to live out of it. But here's the point of this. I really started believing, you know what, one day if I would ever be part of a church like something like this or ever be on stage, I thought, people will love me. Not because I'm good, but because I think the good news is an amazing message. It's literally like, you don't have to try harder. You don't have to feel ashamed. Why? Because Jesus did it all. He's done it all for you. And now he wants to live in you and work through you. Okay, so what I need to do? No, it's all him. It's the best news ever. This grace message, the Bible calls it the gospel of grace, the good news of grace. It's referred to several times. This would be amazing. You know what I learned, though? People don't like the gospel of grace. No, not people out there. They actually think it's pretty good news. You know who doesn't like it? Church people. You know why church people don't like the gospel of grace? Because it takes a scoreboard and says, throw it out the window. Yeah, but if I'm trying harder for God. Matter of fact, I remember when my daughter was really little, she got baptized. Her and my son got baptized the same day. Cool, we're in the elementary school then. And people don't like this so much, let me tell you how many times I'll be up here talking. So if you have to go to the bathroom right now, this is a terrible time for me to say this. But I can't tell you how many times I'll be up here talking and people will get up and just walk out. Well, when they walk out, in my mind, because it kind of distracts me, I just say, probably have an emergency. Probably something bad happened. I'll pray for them as I'm talking right now. I'm literally thinking about them and praying. Or I'll be like, you know what? Maybe they just had to go to the bathroom. No big deal. Well, my daughter was real little and she got baptized, so she sat in that morning. And that morning before the baptisms, like 4 different people got up and walked out while I was talking. I'm talking, they just get up and walk out. So we get in the car, and I'm talking to my wife, and my daughter's real little, and she said, Dad, why did people get up and leave? And I was like, well, Tegan, you got to understand. I think it maybe just an emergency. Maybe they had to go to the restroom. Maybe they had something they had to meet someone a little bit later. She literally went, it wasn't that. I was like, what do you mean? She was like, no, they're angry. They're angry at you. She was like, I saw one lady literally look back at you. I think she shook her fist at you. I'm like, maybe she just had to pee really bad. I don't know. But here's the point. Like, we don't want that. Let's be honest. It's like, no. You mean tell me I'm going to show up here every week? I'm going to do this, and God's not going to reward me more than you? I don't like that. Why? But that's not the gospel of grace. Robert Capon, one of my favorite writers who's passed away, he said this. He says, grace doesn't sell. You can hardly even give it away because it works only for losers, and nobody wants to stand in their line. I struggle with that. I don't know about you guys, but I do. Right? No, I don't want to be in that group. I want to be the group that performs. And God loves me because I'm doing so many good things for him. But we're about to see that's not how God's math works. You see, God's math will make you mad, then glad. This is how God's math works. You see, if we're honest, let's just be honest. Here's what we want, okay? We just want things to be, starts with an F, we just want things to be fair, right? But we just saw, like, God, wait a minute, you're still giving people opportunities way later. These people have been sweating, they've got dirt in their fingernails, dying today in the scorching heat, as we're about to see. And you walk in and just keep bringing more people in, right? That doesn't seem fair. And that's the same thing with the scoreboard. What we say is we say, God, okay, I want things to be completely fair because I'm competing and I'm watching you. So I spend my life, and this is my own sickness, I spend my life competing and comparing on everything. Everything. I believe this. My wife will tell you this, 100% true. If you can't keep score, I don't want to do it. How do I win? I don't know how to win, then I don't want to do it anymore because I need to win in what I do. It's a sickness, right? But here's the problem with this. We will never compete or compare our way to happiness because you're constantly striving and grinding and looking over and what do they have and how are they doing, right? You'll never be happy doing that. But let me make an argument today. I would argue today, as much as all of you in this room would say, as long as things are fair, as long as things are fair, you don't really mean that. What you mean is we need to change the word. What we don't mean is fair. We say, I just wish everything was the same. Now, what do we get upset with? We want everything to be the same for us compared to people who we think have it better or doing better than us. Right? Those are the people we cry out fair. We don't cry fair to the people who don't have what we have. Right? I mean, we will sit at a sports game and be like, it's just not fair. It's just not fair. They're not playing my son. But what are we really saying? We're saying it's not fair because the other parents' kids are playing, and we all know he's terrible, right? It's coach's favorites. Can I just tell you this real quick? I told my son that once. He said something about coaches playing favorites. I said, they do. They're called starters, right? It is. I mean, just be honest. I'm picking my 11 favorite. Yeah, I'm starting these 11. They're my favorite. I think they're the best. It is what it is. Right? But that's not what we should say. What we should say is, I want it to be the same for my kid as them because they have more. So like I said, you can sit at the ball field. Now some of us, our kids are grown now and we're kind of out of that world. But for some of you, it's like you can sit and be mad. I don't like the coach, can't believe this. But what if we got in the car and drove to Cincinnati Children's? And you walked in there. See, we're not asking for fair for that. I'm not, and I know you're not either. Some of you in this room, sadly, are there right now. There's people in the 930. They're living that world as we speak. You think that's fair? No. So we want sameness as long as we think it's going to improve what we get. If it would ever take us down a notch, we don't want sameness. We cry foul. It's not fair, it's a foul. Why? Because God's math isn't addition or subtraction. It's substitution. Okay, you guys didn't feel that one either. I did that at 9:30. People are yawning. Okay, I get it. Okay, that was a baller statement. I'm just saying. It took me a whole week to come up with that. Look what it says in the story, verse 8. It says, that evening he told the foreman to call the workers in and pay them, beginning with the last workers first. Wait. Last workers first? See, Jewish tradition tells us you don't do that. You always pay the early risers first. He's like, no, I'm going to pay the people who have just been here literally an hour, boss? Wait. The people who, once we explained what we were doing, it took 30 minutes, so they've only worked about 30 to 25 minutes. Those people, we're going to pay them first? Yes. Look at verse 9. When those hired at 5 o'clock were paid, each received a full day's wage. When those hired first came to get their pay, they assumed, hey, we're going to see. Could you imagine being in line and you're watching, these guys have worked 20 minutes and they literally get a full day's wage. You're like, dude, he's going to so take care of us. We're going to get so much more. I can't wait. It's so good. They're getting excited. But they too were paid a day's wage. When they received their pay, they protested to the owner. Those people worked only 1 hour and yet you paid them just as much as you paid us who's worked all day in the scorching heat. It's not fair. Is it fair? Can we just be honest? You don't have to be a Bible expert. Is that fair? Is it fair? I'm going to keep talking until just one person says yes or no. No, it's not fair, right? It's not fair. They've worked way harder and they're getting the same. This may be Jesus trying to teach us something. You see, I have a food fear, and my little brother's in this one. He's part of this story, so he needs to hear it too. We had a game Friday night, helping coach the team. We win, everybody's happy, and I'm walking off the field, and all I can focus on is a guy by the name of Brandon who's running the concession stand, who also attends here, and he comes walking out of the back of the concession stand with this huge metal tray. And I got so excited because you poor people like me know what the tray means, don't you? What's that tray have in a concession stand? Leftover old hot dogs, old corn dogs, fries they probably burnt to a crisp no one wanted. So he was walking out, and I was like, what you got in there, Brandon? He's like, just some hot dogs and corn dogs and fries. He's like, you want some? I was like, yeah. How much do you want? All of it? Right? I'll eat 15 hot dogs right now if they're free. Like, I am so in. I loved it. And he said this phrase. He said, I'm telling you, you and your little brother are the only two people I know who are straight homeless, but you're not homeless. He's like, you both, like, it'll be like, hey, that fry fell on the floor and a rat was eating off of it. We'll eat it, right? Like, we love it. Free. My wife's kind of like that, too. It's like, is it free? We're in, right? We love that. But I can tell you, not too long ago, like probably a year and a half ago, a good friend of mine, older gentleman, great guy, he retired. Been at this company forever. He retired. He said, I want to take a bunch of you to the river on like a Tuesday at noon. So we walk into the river, and he did something I would never do in my life. He literally walked in the river, and he said, just remember, this is all me. 15 of us. Before we even order, he said, I got it today. I'm losing my mind. What do you mean? I was like, never do that. If I'm going to pay for your guys' food, let me tell you what I'm going to do just real quick, okay? Number one, I'm going to be like, I'm not going to tell you I'm paying for it until after you order, right? Because you're going to go nuts when you know it's free. And people were. A guy beside me, he was like, I'll take the largest steak and some pork chops. And could you add? I'm like, you're not going to eat all that. He's like, I'm taking it home for my wife. I'm like, right? That's why you don't do that stuff. I mean, I would sell it to you guys. I'd be like, look, I'm going to take you somewhere really nice where they prepare the food in front of you. Hibachi. No Subway, okay? And I'm still going to be like real vague on whether I'm paying for it or not. Right, because we've all been there. I have a couple friends I eat out with, and I'm telling you, when we first started, this was the plan. They're like, hey, just every week one of us will take the whole bill, right? It killed my soul. It killed me. And can I be honest, this is such a terrible move. When one of them was paying for it, like, where are you going to eat next week? I don't know, Red Lobster, right? And then every time it would come to my week, I was like, I hear McDonald's has really changed their menu. Why? Because you don't want to sit and eat a salad and someone eat a steak and be like, I got to pay for your, it's not fair. That's what these people are feeling. It's like, no, it's not fair. So, here's what we got to think about today. What's the purpose of this story? I think maybe more than anything, it's this. Here's the idea. Jesus ruins the scoreboard because he never keeps score. You see, this can't exist in Jesus' world because Jesus doesn't keep score. Now let me explain that. I want you to see this verse in Romans. This is awesome, 11:6. It says, and since it's through God's kindness, then it is not by their good works, for in that case, God's grace would not be what it really is, free and undeserved. You see, the second I start earning something, it's not free anymore, and I deserve it. But he's like, you got to understand, this good news of grace means it's free and undeserved. I can't earn it, you can't earn it. I can't deserve it, you can't deserve it. That's the good news. It puts us all at this kind of level playing field. Grace doesn't just bend the rules, it breaks the scoreboard. It blows up the scoreboard. Now just check out the last few verses. It gets interesting. Verse 13. He answered one of them. This is the landowner. Friend, don't you like when Jesus refers to God? He still looks at the people who are not liking him and calls them friend. God is a friend. He says, I haven't been unfair. Didn't you agree to work all day for the usual wage? Take your money and go. I wanted to pay this last worker the same as you. Is it against the law for me to do what I want with my money? Should you be jealous because I'm kind to others? So he kind of, he gives it to him a little bit. He says, so those, and here's why I think Jesus told this story. So those who are last now will be first then, and those who are first will be last. Think about this. Think about how much this messes with if we truly think we deserve something, we'll never be grateful. Think about that for a second. You will never be grateful for anything if you think you deserve it. If you think your wife should treat you a certain way, you'll never be grateful for anything she does. If you think your kids should behave and say certain things and do certain things and go this route and then they don't, you'll never be grateful because you think you deserve it. If you walk into work every day, well, I deserve this, I deserve that, you'll be miserable at work, right? In all aspects of our life, we're miserable when we think we deserve something. Why did the first group get so frustrated? Because they thought they deserved it. We've earned it, right? And because of that, they are literally miserable. But here's what's the saddest part of this whole story. In this culture, you had to work that day to eat. You had to literally work to eat. So if you didn't work, you maybe didn't eat that day. These people at 6 a.m. got hired at the same time. They literally probably weren't going to eat that day. So when they first got hired, you don't think they're like, yes, got a job day. Good news. Good job. Good. Now they're miserable. Why? Because they start keeping score with everybody else. So as I close, I want to share a story with you. I heard a guy. I ripped it off from a guy just because I thought it's so fitting for today. I want you guys to pretend with me you're at a high school graduation, okay? And you've got Tate. Tate is the greatest student in the world. He literally, he is straight A's, never made a B in anything. He is part of every sports team, every club's team. He's the student body president. He's the class president. He is good looking. He's nice. We've seen times where he'll walk down the hallway and treat a kid who maybe other people kind of pick on. He's nice to them. He defends them. He's just the perfect all-American. Tate's the all-American kid. But Tate not only is involved in sports and all these extracurriculars, Tate also literally has spent the last 2 years, every time he gets home from practice, spends an hour reading ACT prep courses. He worked so hard on it. That way he could get a perfect score, and guess what? He did. Perfect score, 36 on the ACT. Money. At graduation, Tate is number one in his class. So he walks up, and before they hand him the diploma, of course, he gives the speech, and he's just want to thank all of you and thank my parents and great support system. And as he goes through all this, everyone's just like, of course, he deserves it. He's the best in the class, right? Good-looking kid, got it all going. But something happens. Right as he's getting ready to walk off after his speech, the superintendent and the principal look at each other and wink. And they grab the mic and they say, we've never done this in school history, but we want to do it today because you are literally, we've all agreed, the greatest student we've ever had. We are going to take our school budget and we're going to pay for you to have a full ride to Harvard, the school of your dreams, all expenses paid. Now, if we're in that room, whether we like it or not, we're like, he deserves it. He deserves it. Good for him. But let me talk about Ronald for a second, okay? Because Ronald isn't in the gym today. Ronald started as a freshman with Tate, right? But he hates school, hates teachers. Teachers hated him, never wanted to be there, miserable every day. When Tate's over there, being nice to everybody, he's probably over there making fun of everybody else. He's the worst, right? So what happens is he shows up about half the time his freshman year. Then he gets to his sophomore year, he comes about a fourth of the time. Well, because he's older than everybody, he just quit school. But we all still see Ronald around sometimes. You know why? Because when we pull into school, he's over there smoking weed with his knucklehead friends. That's Ronald. So they go through the whole thing, and everybody gets their diploma, and good job, way to work. And then they get to the very end, and the superintendent says, wait, I got one more surprise. Ronald, they're like, he's not in here. I know, but when we pulled in, we saw him in the parking lot, smoking weed with his friends. Can someone go get Ronald? And Ronald comes in, and he's like, hey, if this is about the warrant for my arrest, just know I didn't do it. No, you're good. And we bring Ronald on stage, and the superintendent says, we've taken our school budget, the remaining amount, and we're going to give you a full ride scholarship to Harvard. See, all of us in this room lose our mind. And all of us in this room have a reason to, because we get a yell, that's not fair. That's a misuse of funds. Can't believe you would do that. Terrible choice. See, none of us in this room like that story. Nobody watching online likes that story. It rubs us a little wrong, doesn't it? Until you realize something. And I think this is the whole point of Jesus' story. I'm the stoner dropout, and so are you. We're all the stoner dropout. Now, if that offends you, maybe it should. Because I think this is the point Jesus is trying to make. None of you can earn this. Jesus literally takes the scoreboard, and he says this. He's like, done. He drops it. And then he turns around when we're all least expecting it, and he says, I got a nice rabbit trophy here from my daughter. She says, never throw this away. Reserve champion rabbit, in case you don't know, right? Jesus literally comes in and he says, no, this is for you, Ronald. But I don't deserve it. I know. That's the great news of God's grace. You see, the bottom line with this scoreboard, as we close, I don't want God keeping score and track in my life, and you don't either. Really? Think about that. Every action, every deed. No, I serve people who are poor. Yeah, what's your motive behind that? Half of the stuff I do, even good sometimes, is just so you'll think high of me, right? I don't want God keeping true score of my life. and neither do you. And here's the good news today. Jesus lost so I could win. Jesus lost so all of us in this room could get the trophy. And he didn't just lose. He lost big. He lost so much that it cost him his life. So Jesus lost so I could win. And here's the good news today. Now that I get that I'm fully approved, fully forgiven, there's nothing I can do to earn any more favor with God. Once I really believe that, guess what? I get to love people the way that I've already been loved. I don't have to keep score either. See, because some of us are not only good at keeping score in our life, we're good at keeping score of all the people around us too. I get to forgive the way I've already been forgiven. I get to treat people the way Jesus treats me in the good times and the bad. That's the good news of God's grace. So this morning, I want you to hear this, okay? Don't keep score, because you don't want to. You don't want to. You don't want to get in a game with God of like, I've earned this, I deserve this, because if God would look at us and say, you want fair? All of us in this room, everybody watching online, everybody in the whole world, you want fair, you want what you deserve? No, sir. No, sir. I don't. Yeah, because I want to give you something so much better. He blows up the scoreboard and he hands you a trophy you never deserved. But Jesus, I didn't win. You did now. Because you're on my team. He lost so we could win. If we would just take a moment, so close our eyes and pray. Father, I thank you so much for this moment, for this group of people. God, I do pray this morning. I know this. Every week, God, I prepare and pray that it makes sense, but maybe this morning, God, I'm not sure it's supposed to make sense. I'm not sure we're supposed to get it fully. But I do pray we would maybe get a little hint of why you told this story. So we'd realize that all the people we rank and think are the first, or we should be first, are actually last. Because we can never earn or deserve your love. So thank you for giving it to us freely. God, I pray today that once we really let our hearts get captivated by this crazy concept of grace, that you literally lost big so we could win big. And God, if we're honest, if we really believe this and take it to heart, this concept of grace isn't just bizarre, it's scandalous. It's so unfair. You mean to tell me the worst of the worst still get your best? Yes. Because all of us are the worst of the worst. So today, God, I pray that we would understand. And when we see how you love us, maybe it can help us forgive and love that person who rubs us the wrong way. That person who seems to keep getting more than they deserve. So we realize the whole time we're all the 5 p.m. workers. Everybody in this room, everybody listening online is the 5 p.m. workers. So God, I pray today, we walk out these doors, we realize how amazing your grace truly is. Fully loved, fully forgiven, fully approved. Because of that, we have life in you. So Jesus, thank you. Thank you for giving your life so we could have life in you. What an amazing gift. I pray we never get tired of hearing that. And God, you know my heart. I don't want to say 10,000 different things here every Sunday. I want to say one thing, this amazing good news, 10,000 different ways. Help us be reminded of that today. We walk out these doors a little lighter, a little freer, as we take in your amazing good news. We ask these things in your name. Amen. Guys, coffee donut truck next week. Love to see you then for week 5. Take care.